Welcome to the Glitch Mob podcast. I'm Monica. I am your host today, and I am here with Jessica Velazquez. She is a spiritual mentor and trauma-informed coach with over 25 years experience, right?
Correct.
Yes. Welcome so much, Jessica.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So today we're going to concentrate on some inner child meditation. But first, I would love for you to start, just kind of introduce yourself and kind of give us a little background of how you got here.
Oh, how I got here. I'm inspired by my own story.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got here because of my own childhood trauma that I experienced growing up and realizing how I needed to learn to do differently when I was pregnant with my baby girl. It was like a wake-up call to, oh, I need to get things together here and unlearn patterns because I didn't want to pass things on that I know have really hurt me. So that was my inspiration there.
Mm.
I've always been about growth and development. It just took on a whole nother lens, right? When you're responsible for another life. And I was just resolute that I was not going to have her grow up experiencing the same patterns. And I was going to make sure I undid like the things that didn't support me. Because yeah, like what parent wants their kid in pain, right? And then to
Right.
know that it's something that's preventable. Yeah, that's what started my journey more hardcore and loved it so much, saw the value in it so much that I want the world to know. So I made it into a career.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
you went to seminary too, didn't you?
I did. I
Yeah.
did go to Bible college. So
Okay.
I went to Stonehill College, actually in Massachusetts. And then while I was there, I was not happy. I was studying to be a news anchor.
Oh, wow.
And there I had a real aha moment. I was not happy and really did some soul searching and discovered that my life is all faith. Like my core is spirituality.
Mhm.
And so I really wanted to bring in the connection of spirituality with healing and just explore and discover what that was for myself. And I wanted to be empowered so that I could be my best me from that lens of spirituality. So that's why I left college there at Stonehill and went to Maine,
Oh,
went
wow.
to Bible college, not having even seen this school, but knew that I knew I needed to be there.
Mhm.
And that was, my goodness, over 25 years ago. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So,
And
so after that is when the coaching began. Is that correct?
yeah, I was already operating in some degree as a leader. I am a natural leader and like I did youth groups, led in churches but I really took it seriously, my role in humanity and my
Mhm.
purpose. And then Miranda, my baby girl who's now 20,
Mhm.
really just supported that, with her appearance here. And yeah, that is what stirred me even more to be the person that I am today.
Yeah. Well, let's hop into it. The inner child meditation. Where do we begin?
Well, first it's recognizing and being aware, recognizing that everyone has an inner child. Every adult, every walking adult has a walking inner child inside them.
Mhm.
Understanding that who you were when you were younger is still there. It's still very much there. And little him, little her is very alive in
Mhm.
there. And wanting to be reparented in the ways that were not supportive. They want it to happen again in a way that they didn't receive the support, whatever it was growing up. They want it from you, adult you.
Mm.
And it's our responsibility to reparent that inner child. And that's how you change the dynamic of your relationship with yourself. That's how you change the dynamic with your relationship with your kids or any other relationship outside of yourself.
Yeah.
It all starts within, and it starts with your relationship with yourself as it relates to, first and foremost, your inner child, because there are patterns, there are strategies, there are behaviors that we learned growing up
Yeah.
that that's what we did. We learned how to people please. We learned how to acquiesce. We learned how to overachieve. We learned how to be a perfectionist, right? We learned how to do all these things to earn love, to earn attention,
Mhm.
to see value outside of us. And
Mhm.
then as an adult, those things are maladaptive. We go
Mhm.
into codependent behaviors. We go into sacrificing, sabotaging ourselves. We go into not living our truth
Mhm.
and being a chameleon. And those things will catch up to us, right? And so it's important to undo those behaviors and learn, what does it look like for
Mhm.
me to honor my truth in a way that I couldn't as a child, because the big people would be upset with me, right? If you spoke your mind, that kind of thing. So it's like a relearning, unlearning, and a relearning of what patterns would support you. And in order to do that, you have to connect with the inner kid inside.
So this is so interesting to me. Can we go through some examples of like the patterns and behaviors?
Absolutely. It could be as simple as not being able to say no, having a hard time to say no,
Hmm.
and forcing yourself to do something you don't even want to freaking do.
Yeah.
And inside, like your body is like resistant, and there's tension because your body is telling you, our bodies are so amazing. They are they're messengers. Feelings that we have are messengers, and there's an impact to our body, and our body will tell us whether we're feeling really like hell yes to something, or oh hell no, right? And so that is really important to listen to, right? And so in our day and age, go, go, go does not support sitting still and see what my body is feeling right now. What am
Mhm.
I feeling right now? Right. So yeah, the gist of needing to be aware so that you could see the pattern. So some of the patterns, again, okay, as easy as not being able to say no. You
Mhm.
could also have a hard time with feeling guilt when you can't commit to something,
Mhm.
and or your feelings of maybe failure, how you handle your relationship with failure, mistakes,
Mhm.
not being happy, not being in a place where you want to be, and the expectations that we put upon ourselves. For example, being in a situation with in a relationship that doesn't support you. Why are you still there? And
Mhm.
get to the understanding of why, what led you to go into that dynamic, first of all, and then why do you remain when it is clear to you. And in some cases, it's not as clear because the person is in denial and doesn't want to be aware. But
Yeah.
a lot of cases, people know. People know
Mhm.
if they sit still enough and listen to their bodies
Right.
and feel that nauseating feeling, and you're not lit the hell up, you
Mhm.
right? That's a message, right?
Yeah.
So how do I get out of this? Oh my God. And then, well, what would people think of me? Opinions of others, right? That's another pattern. To care so much about an image, your credibility. Um,
Mhm.
it could also go into patterns such as not, yeah, not speaking your truth, and what you really like and don't like, and just going with the flow
Yeah.
and adjusting, way to like professional accommodators, accommodating everybody and forgetting about your damn self,
Yeah.
not taking care of yourself. Is another pattern, right? Like neglecting yourself and feeling like you need to make sure everything is okay outside of you.
Mhm.
Everybody's okay. And if they're okay and everybody's outside of you and there's control, right?
Mhm.
It is an illusion. Control, then I am safe. I am happy. I can relax.
Right.
The reality is that that's an illusion, right? There's only so much you can control.
Yeah.
And that which you can't control needs to be let go. So those are some examples. Is
Okay.
yeah,
So what's the process? First, you recognize that you need to work on your inner child, that it's something from your childhood that needs to be addressed and
yes,
fixed.
yes.
What's the process after you recognize it?
It's connecting with that inner child. And
Hmm.
that is what I so love to do, to guide people in an active meditation.
Station.
An
Okay.
active guided meditation where I guide in an individual in the reconnecting with this inner child and what that feels like, what they sound like is, and it'll feel weird and awkward and uncomfortable at first because it's like woo woo, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, this feels really dumb. But it's so powerful when a person gets to connect with their inner child and feel what that feels like.
Right.
There's no turning back because then you really feel into your badassery because then you know that you know
Yeah.
those parts of you that you had to disconnect from. For
Mhm.
example, let's say like I have always been very, very verbal as
Mhm.
a child. And I learned to suppress that because it wasn't welcomed. My feelings weren't welcome, my opinions weren't welcomed, right? And so when I unlearned that suppression and
Mhm.
realized I need to connect to my voice matters. My
Yeah.
voice is extremely important that it is shared, whether what people do with it or not, that is
Mhm.
data for me to recognize, okay, what do I want to do with this information, right? Do I want to proceed in this connection? Do I not want to proceed with the connection, right? It's very confronting.
Mhm.
So, but speaking up is like one area where I just really connected with my inner child to let her know I had to nurture her.
Yeah.
It's okay to speak up. I know you feel scared. I know you weren't welcome so many years and you're used to being quiet. And it's frustrating and you're really angry that you weren't allowed to speak up, like
Mhm.
validating that inner child. When you
Right.
feel that, you feel into your wholeness because we're
Yeah.
all whole already inherently, but you feel into your wholeness because you're bringing all those parts that you had to disconnect from as a child. You had to disconnect from it, right? You're bringing them back. And those parts of us are elated. It's like, oh my God, I
Yeah.
can talk now. I can share this now, and I'm not going to get in trouble. What?
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh, forget about it, right? And you feel into your badassery. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, hell no, I'm not accepting that ever again,
Mhm.
right? And so, and it feels amazing when you are speaking up too, right? When I've spoken up and see people respond in a way that's respectful and welcoming, that only, intensifies and empowers you even more to see the value of it, right? And the same is true in the opposite end, even though it doesn't feel as good, it feels shittier, right?
Yeah.
When someone rejects your voice,
Mhm.
it's like, okay, now what am I going to implement in my new learned behavior here to honor
Mhm.
me and not go backwards?
Yeah. And you almost think that your inner child's waiting for you to talk to it.
Absolutely. That
Per
inner
your
child,
yeah.
yeah. That
Mhm.
inner child is like, can you please give me the time of day? Because
Yeah.
I have been waiting. I've been waiting for someone to take care of me in a way that makes me feel good about myself.
Yeah.
Because it feels good to feel good. We're
Mhm.
not here to be feeling shitty.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're here to feel into our vastness, into our sacredness,
Mhm.
into all that abundance that we have and that we carry within us.
Yeah.
And share that with, first and foremost, with ourselves, with our family, with those that we love, with outside of us and our orbits, our friends, and even more so outside into humanity. People want to know you. And
Mhm.
we are not allowing ourselves to be known when we're disconnected from the parts of us that make us badass,
Yeah.
where we're showing up inauthentic.
Mhm.
Yeah, so our inner child is just longing to be
Right.
supported and taken care of by us. And it's
Yes.
up to us because our inner child is feeling, for the most part, yeah, neglected,
Yeah.
abandoned. And so it's important to reconnect with that inner child to build trust again.
Mm.
And every time you're able to say yes to you and no to what doesn't serve you, it only strengthens the trust that inner child has within you. So the
Right.
inner child doesn't run the show. Because when you are in an adult version of a tantrum, when we're
Mhm.
going off, when we're not, in our prefrontal cortex to understand, when we're being illogical, unreasonable, that's that inner child basically bugging out, like no. And it doesn't make sense. It looks crazy, right? When you see two adults just going at it, fighting, right? Think of two 5-year-olds in, on a playground
Yeah.
fighting over something, because that's really what it comes down to.
That is such a good visual
Hmm.
that when we have adult tantrums, it's really our inner child having a little tantrum.
Absolutely. When silent treatment, like that's a kid behavior, right? Like I'm not
Yeah.
going to talk to you, right?
Right.
I'm not going to talk to you and or stay on your side. That's your side. Don't come on my side.
Yeah.
Or oh, I'm going to get back at you. Like all that is childish behavior,
Right.
right? What is grown up, adult, empowering, strengthening behavior, right? Is let me have a conversation with this person in a
Hmm.
respectful manner, right? Because it is possible and it's necessary to learn how to stay on your side of the street, is how I call it, stay in your lane, and
Hmm.
also be able to share how you feel and hear the other person in their lane, but not go over to the lane. When we're trying to acquiesce and people please, we go over to the other lane and we're extremely accommodating.
Hmm.
And when you stay, you could stay in your lane, right? And the fear is a lot of times is if I say yes and understand this other person that sees things differently, then I'm abandoning, where I stand. And the reality is you're not. You're
Hmm.
actually showing how you could remain in your truth while honoring somebody else in their truth. And it's okay to disagree. And
Right.
it's beautiful, actually.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, right? When we all have our own uniqueness and our own sacredness that we're here to honor.
I
And
cannot agree with that more.
mhm.
We're all here for a purpose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And our soul, there's a soul mission, there's a soul calling upon all our lives, why we're here for our own soul's growth.
Hmm.
And it, like, we are not made to, like, be hiding our vastness.
Hmm.
Other people need your vastness, my vastness, the listeners and their vastness. People need to hear and feel and experience you in all of your abundance. And
Right.
we rob people of that experience. We rob ourselves from that experience to feel into the glorious nature of our sacredness.
Mhm.
There's a reason why I'm, like no bullshit. There's a reason why I speak up. There's a reason why you are badass. There's a reason why you started this podcast, right? There's a reason why you are who you are
Yeah.
unapologetically, right?
Mhm.
And when we don't honor those reasons, we abandon that inner child even more.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I loved reading your bio. You have a sentence in there that says that you basically transform shit into gold.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's what you're doing.
That's exactly. It's taking something so shitty
Yeah.
and feels horrible. And being able to be removed enough after you honor it,
Hmm.
honor the pain, honor the experience, and you have to sit in the victim seat for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I tell my clients, and sometimes they're like, but I don't want to be a victim and I don't, yada, yada, right? Like, and
Mhm.
I'm like, no, 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 no. It is important that you are a victim for a moment so you
Mhm.
can grieve. You need to grieve. You cannot get onto the other side by
Mhm.
shoving it and telling that inner child to shut up. You're not going to be effective and it won't be sustainable, whatever you're trying to relearn.
Mhm.
It's going to happen. You
Yeah.
need to be able to grieve. And that grieving process frees you to learn a new pattern from a clean slate
Mhm.
and it releases what I call the charge. And the
Mhm.
charge is the trigger that sends somebody from 0 to 50,000.
Yeah.
It releases that charge because there's no charge anymore. It's like, oh, that's right. I experienced that and it doesn't have the same power over me anymore.
Yeah.
In order to release that, you have to grieve. And so once you do that, I mean, any shit could be turned into gold.
Mhm.
Once you're able to become aware and you're face to face with it.
Mhm.
See, the issue is for many is it's hard to sit in the discomfort. It's
Mhm.
hard to sit in shitty, reality of
Mhm.
what happened, right? But that's why it's important to get support. So
Yeah.
I tell my clients, remember, this is just for a moment here. It is not forever. It's so that you can not experience this forever, that we're
Yeah.
going to be right here.
Mhm.
So I remind them that because that shit is going to transform into gold. And when it does, oh my God, I get so freaking elated and fucking ecstatic
Yeah.
when people do things differently. Like, oh my God, Jess, I said no. Like we
Uh-huh.
have like, a celebration over it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's powerful.
I love that. And coming out of a relationship, it's like a death.
Yes.
Going through a divorce, it's like a death, and you go through a lot of emotions that you go through when you lose someone who's close to you.
Yeah. And even if, the person didn't show up as their best self, right? And it was
Mhm.
shitty, the experience, whatever issues on the other end, it's okay to still grieve, even if it was toxic. You need to still grieve it because
Yeah.
there's dreams there
Mhm.
that you have to grieve.
And I
There's,
think it's part of reprogramming
mhm.
self.
Yeah, it's yeah, a deconditioning,
Hmm.
right, of sorts with this person that you had life with for so many years,
Yeah.
right? It's relearning. Hmm.
And then
Who?
also reigniting that charge, like you were talking about,
Hmm.
which is one reason I did start this podcast, is because these things, I just feel like it's so important to talk about them.
Yes,
You
absolutely.
and some people might not recognize that, why I might be acting like this because I need to address my inner child.
Absolutely. That's what it all comes down to because
Yeah.
they're the foundation for why you are where you are and what you do and how you operate,
Hmm.
right? Even the nonverbal things, nonverbal cues
Yeah.
we've learned from watching our caregivers.
Hmm.
And so that's why I chuckle when people are like, oh my God, I sound like my freaking mom, right? It's like, oh my God, I'm doing shit like my dad did.
Yeah.
It's like a aha moment.
Hmm.
Well, you were around that so much, right? So of course you're going to learn.
Hmm.
Yeah, even unconsciously.
Hmm. So when you work with your clients, I know everybody's different,
Yeah,
but like
yeah,
on average, how long does it take to kind of get that breakthrough?
yeah. Oh my God. I can't even say there's an average. It depends because it depends on how much work a person's willing to do, how much they want to change,
Yeah.
how much they're sick and fed up with their own bullshit.
Hmm.
I have clients that work with me for like 2 years and then they stop because they're enjoying their present, healed experiences.
Yeah.
And it's great. And then they come back and like, Jess, okay, something else is happening now that I've leveled up and I want to level up even more. So I need to address this issue now.
Yeah.
Because there's so many layers to our growth and our healing, and they're covered in degrees,
Hmm.
right? So yeah, somebody who wants to go deep in, let's say, they even talk about sex. Let's say someone who really wants to feel into their body and feel comfortable in their skin to enjoy pleasure sexually, like they're going to have to first like get used to being in their body.
Yeah.
Like, there's like layers, like, okay, where am I feeling shame in my body and why? Has there
Mhm.
been any sexual abuse, right? Has there been any abuse amongst just them in the relationship with themselves?
Yeah.
Have they done anything to hurt themselves? Like, what is the narrative that they're experiencing about their own body before you can even get to a
Hmm.
place of, oh my God, I feel so free in my body and I
Yeah.
want to enjoy my partner or partners or whatever, right? Like, there's levels to it for sure.
Hmm.
And you're not, yeah, there's a progression and it has to start with what does that new child want you to do right now?
Yeah.
And that we find out when we're in an active meditation. That inner child is waiting to share.
Hmm. I love that. I'm gonna start talking to my inner child.
Yes, yes. I mean, so it's different for everybody for sure. And some things can be done real quickly. And
Yeah.
and also what is also pending that is how coachable a person is.
Yeah.
Because
Hmm.
we love our patterns, they're comfortable.
We get comfortable in them.
They're
Mhm.
familiar. Anything that is not comfortable, it feels uneasy. Our nervous system goes into like stress. Oh my God, automatically thinks we're in danger.
Yeah.
So there has to be a, a conversation, multiple times with some clients where I remind them how to speak and empower themselves to ease their nervous system,
Mhm.
self-soothe, that this is good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some tips on how to self-soothe?
Oh, definitely feel into your body.
Mhm.
Does my body want me to just go for a walk here? Will it feel good? And just ask the question.
Yeah.
Would it feel good if I just put music on and listened? Would it feel good if I put music on and dance? And just feel into that, asking the question, would it feel good if I went to the gym for 30 minutes even?
Yeah.
And the answer is in your body, of your body saying, oh my God, like you'd feel like an excitement or a relief. If you feel resistance, don't do it, right? Like I want to take a bath
Red.
with
Mhm.
candles, and if your body's like, get out of here with that shit. I want you to go walk.
Yeah.
Move your ass, you know?
Yeah.
Let me do that because that's what my body is feeling excited about.
Yeah.
It's so
Uh-huh.
it's asking yourself, okay, what do I need? And it could be as simple as, do I need to wear cotton today or silk?
Yeah. Your
What?
senses.
Yes. What kind of material needs to be on my body that would feel good?
Yeah.
Who I need to be around that would feel good?
Mm-hmm.
Watching energy, watching the amount of conversations you're having with people who don't need to have access to you, giving too much access to it. Like those are things to help you soothe, to protect your energy, to take care of your mental health and well-being. Um,
Right.
there's so many. Meditation, of course, is like my jam here with especially inner child. So taking care of the inner child is going to be always my number one to self-soothe. It's
Yeah.
talking to that inner child. And there's a whole experience there that's explosive and transformative.
Yeah.
Once you learn and you connect with your inner child, how to self-soothe so that you can go from feeling triggered like, 100,000 to like feeling only about maybe 20.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Mhm. I love that you said to
Hmm.
ask yourself what's going to make you feel better. I think
Yes.
that's honoring ourselves.
Yes, because a lot of times we're go, 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 and
Mhm.
we don't take the time to be still enough to check in. I call that the
Yeah.
check in. Just
Yeah.
check in. And even checking in, how do I feel? Sometimes sometimes there may be you're not aware because it's messy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay to not label it either if you don't know. But
Mm-hmm.
then you go into like, okay, what does my body need right now? What do I need? And I empower my clients with learning, like relearning their body and the conversation they need to have to relate to their body, as well
Mm-hmm.
as emotions, just like anger. Anger is not bad. It's what
No.
we do with it, right? But anger is so healthy. It
Mhm.
reminds us that we're alive. It shows us where we need to honor ourselves, where we're not honoring ourselves. Pain motivates change.
Yeah.
Anger shows us, okay, this means I need to handle this differently with this person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because yeah, I'm going to be a hot mess and lose my dignity and integrity and look like a fool in a minute, if they do XYZ again. Well, don't put yourself in that situation. So
Yeah.
what is empowering, So you have to be able to have a conversation and connection with yourself.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, everything comes down to within, your
Mm-hmm.
relationship within. Um, yeah, yeah.
I can just imagine you wake up in the morning and just look in the mirror and you're like, I'm a fucking badass.
Yes, I have all
You like
kinds.
that every morning. I can imagine. Yeah.
And then there are mornings, that I wake up, I had a shitty dream, a nightmare, or I'm not feeling good in my body, and
Mm-hmm.
I maybe not feel like a badass. And I'm like, okay, what can I do to take care of my badassery?
Yeah.
What do I need to do? What do I want to do? And it's important to remember that this is only a part of you that's
Mm-hmm.
saying this. We have parts to us, so many.
Mm-hmm.
And the languaging, even like when we're feeling angry, it's important to say, like, I feel a part of me is feeling, or I feel angry in this area. Because it's
Mm-hmm.
not totality. It's not, it also just normalizes and brings to perspective to not basically like throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole saying that's, am I having a bad day, or am I having a bad moment?
Mm-hmm.
We get to choose all the time
Oh, I
to,
like that.
to just choose again, right?
I like that. Am I having a bad day or a bad moment?
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah, and a part of me is feeling this,
Mm-hmm.
which also awakens the other parts that are feeling fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Like, hey, over here, I'm not feeling fucking shitty. I feel fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Right. And so, like, which part is saying they feel fucking amazing? Connect with that so that it can support the shitty shit, you
Right.
know?
I
So,
love that. And those of us who want to be in relationships, I feel like when we get out of a relationship, we owe it not only to ourselves, but to our future partner to fix yourself. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. Hell
Yes.
yes.
Yes. And I
Yes.
wish I would have known that a long time ago.
Yes.
That
And
I should have fixed myself before getting into another relationship.
yeah, and I don't even the word fix be it's tricky because we're not per se broken.
Yeah.
I feel like we're all whole, but I
Mhm.
feel like it's more of a how can I be best aligned for myself?
Yeah.
What do I need to do to align with me?
Hmm.
Like what needs to be honored in my inner child? Because once we honor that, you are a whole hell of a better partner to
Hmm.
your partner when you can take care of you in a way that's empowering and powerful. Because then you can also communicate in a
Hmm.
way that is powerful, right? And you're not throwing your inner child over to your partner and be like, hey, can you fix my inner kid here?
Right.
That's what we do when we're not empowered, when we're not unlearning patterns of behaviors. That's what we do, even
Hmm.
like to friends too. It's like throwing a tantrum and we're looking for support. But my question would be, okay, how are you supporting yourself first? Because that's first and foremost and most important. Like
Hmm.
that's not anybody else's responsibility. So visualize when we do that and you're looking for external, not to say that it's wrong to be supported externally, right? Of course. But when we're not taking care of ourselves and we're only looking for external validation and external support to soothe us, it's like you're bringing your inner child to different houses and you're dropping them off like a damn orphan.
Yeah.
Hey, take care of this, take care of this. When really it's no, you need to take care of this little one that wants your love and attention most above all.
Right. And when we get into a relationship to see the signs that if they're not at that point,
Yes.
because if not, you'll end up being the one taking care of that orphan.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. And it's right. It's not your responsibility to be taking
Yeah.
care of the orphan, right?
Yeah.
Of the other person's other child. It's theirs. And that's
Hmm.
why it's important. I tell my clients when they are dating, if they're not married and you know, and they're just dating, I tell them, I said, look forward to, and I want you to seek out, you know, when this happens, right? To get in a fight. And they look at me like, Jess, what? And I'm
Yeah.
like, yes, that's when you're going to see whether you're going to make it or not.
Yeah.
What kind of tools do you have and does your partner have in conflict?
Hmm.
Are you able to keep respect there?
Yeah.
What kind of strategies and patterns of behavior come up when you're in conflict? Because that's when you really see someone's inner child.
Yeah. That's so true.
So I tell them, I encourage them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing your first fight.
And we always think about we don't want to fight, but that could be
Totally.
good.
Like
Yeah.
it's definitely good. Conflict, you know, there's we could be so conflict averse, and conflict is actually what supports our relationships to be stronger
Hmm.
because you're allowing yourself to be known, you're allowing the other person the space to be known, and
Yeah.
you can engage and collaborate with one another. That's a partnership.
Right.
Not when
Yeah.
everything's like wonderful and it's like that's great,
Hmm.
amazing. However, what happens when there's conflict? You know, imagine two people, right? Just avoiding it, two avoidance.
Hmm.
Like if you're both avoiding it, that shit's gonna pile up
Oh, I
and it's
know.
gonna come when you least expect it. And then what?
Hmm. Or it'll come out on somebody that shouldn't have gotten it, but they just got the
Yep.
tail end of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I love that we're talking about this and recognizing things. So how tell the listeners how they can get a hold of you.
Yes. Gosh, there's a couple different ways. So
Hmm.
I am on Instagram with underscore Jessica V dot underscore.
Okay.
And they can send me a DM.
Okay.
Badass is what I love to read, to see. Hey, we could do like right now, I'm doing an intro for an assessment with trauma. I will assess people in their trauma and whatever's going on in their life. It's an intake
Hmm.
for $49 for an hour.
Okay.
And so that's my current offer. If they message me DM badass in
Okay.
my Instagram, and
Nice.
or they could shoot me an email, connect at jessicav.net
Okay.
as well. Yeah.
And then also your website,
Yep. My website, yes, is jessicav.net.
.net. Okay.
Right. And if you're interested, if any of your listeners are interested in, and I would highly, highly, highly recommend this.
Mhm.
I've created a free quiz so that you could learn your patterns and
Mm.
understand and be able to rank them in your responses with stress, with conflict, when push comes to shove. Are you a person that goes into fight, reaction, flight, fawn, or freeze? Or
Hmm.
you may have a little bit of all of them, depending on the situation.
Okay.
I created a free quiz there.
Is that on your website?
It is on my website on the
Okay.
top. Yep, it's on my website.
Well, I'm gonna go take the quiz.
Yes, please do take that quiz
Mhm.
and see your results
Yeah.
there, and you gain more understanding and awareness about your stress responses. And I
Right.
also will be putting out actually content this week on those specific stress responses. I've been talking about triggers a lot and how to recognize them, why they're there. So I invite your listeners to check out my feed on Instagram for that as well.
Yeah. Well, I definitely enjoy following you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You
I love that.
inspire me. So I thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
You're
thank you for
welcome.
taking the time to talk to us today.
Absolutely.
Hey.
Absolutely.
All right. Have a good one.
Thank you.